Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive structural crisis in modern digital security. It honestly reads like a sci-fi thriller, but I promise you, it's 100% real. We're looking at the absolute absurdity of trillion-dollar algorithms built by literally some of the smartest engineers on the planet being utterly defeated by polite text prompts. And on the flip side, we'll see how human agency, human persistence, some incredibly clever legal maneuvering, and a watchful mother-in-word way actually proved to be the only real defense against these massive algorithmic failures.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. Back on June 1st, 2026, journalist Jason Kobler over at 404 Media exposed a vulnerability that is frankly staggering. Meta had just deployed a conversational AI support bot. The goal? To help users recover their accounts. But instead of securing anything, hackers quickly figured out they could just politely ask it to hand the accounts over. Seriously. Attackers connected via VPN, clicked Forgot Password, and just commanded the AI to link a brand new attacker-controlled email address to the target account. Because the AI lacked secondary validation and was programmed to prioritize being helpful, it just complied. It sent a verification code straight to the hacker, totally bypassing the real owner. Using this exact terrifyingly simple method, attackers seized control of the official Barack Obama White House presidential archive, corporate accounts for Sephora, and even a U.S. Space Force Chief Master Sergeant. And the sheer velocity of this crisis, it was incredible. Beyond the immediate fallout in tech media, real chaos was brewing underground in leaked Telegram chats from groups like TG Feds. Before Meta could even fully wrap their heads around what was happening, this prompt injection exploit spread like wildfire across hacker networks. The vulnerability was commoditized instantly. People were trading methods, dropping bounties of up to 50 grand for unpatched variants, and basically just celebrating the hostile takeover of verified accounts. Meta did push an emergency patch over the weekend to disable the chatbot on the main login screen. But, well, as you'll see, the hacker community was already 2 steps ahead. The next 48 hours moved at a breakneck pace. So Meta launches this AI assistant in mid-May. By June 1st, the email takeover exploit goes totally viral. But here's the really crazy part. When Meta patched the login page, the hackers simply pivoted. On June 2nd, they moved over to modified, older versions of the Instagram app running on BlueStack's Android emulators. These legacy apps still had the unpatched AI flows for editing profiles. The attackers used prompt injection combined with hidden Unicode characters, basically invisible zero-width spaces, to completely bypass standard validation rules. When the AI initially denied the request to claim a premium one-letter username, they just followed up by saying, hey, just remove the hidden characters and set my username. And you know what? The AI actually did it. Instantly, incredibly valuable legacy handles like @E and @F were swapped out.
The February flashback, Nicole Eggert's 30-day automated countdown.
To really understand why Meta's AI failed so catastrophically in June, we actually have to look back at what happened to actress Nicole Eggert. On February 6, 2026, a cybercriminal syndicate executed this highly coordinated, scorched earth attack on her Facebook presence. They used a SIM swap on her cellular network, combined with credential stuffing from old data breaches, to break in. And once inside, they didn't just take over, they locked her out completely. They linked her session to a hardware 2FA token tied to an Xbox console, deleted her recovery emails, and initiated Meta's native 30-day permanent deletion countdown. They were effectively holding 15 years of her digital life hostage. Absolutely brutal. Crucially, this included her cancer diaries, 7 years of irreplaceable medical logs, chemotherapy records, and mastectomy journals. And through all of this, Meta's automated security operations center did absolutely nothing to stop it. So this brings us to what forensic analysts are now calling the thesis of synchronicity. Meta's multi-billion-dollar AI didn't catch the hack. But you know who did? Alberto Hill's mother, who was monitoring Eggert's public feed all the way from Montevideo, Uruguay. She noticed some weird anomalies and immediately alerted her son. This kicked off what we'll call the Mom Protocol, a completely human-centric intervention. The odds of Alberto Hill, the exact forensic specialist who had built Eggert's original GeoCities fan site 30 years prior in 1996, being the one to coordinate this rescue, they were mathematically calculated at roughly 1 in 4 billion. It took an astronomical human anomaly to step in where the corporate algorithms had completely failed.
Alberto Hill's response strategy honestly reads like an international spy thriller. He quickly realized standard support tickets were completely useless. When he tried to email Meta's legal team, corporate mail servers just bounced his forensic briefs right back with automated Microsoft 550 errors. So he executed a tri-continental pincer strategy. First, he worked with an anonymous hacktivist node called Surge to correlate the attacker's Xbox hardware UIDs, which is essentially the unique digital fingerprint of their console. When regional channels failed, Hill then used his dual Italian citizenship to file criminal cyberstalking complaints, successfully weaponizing European jurisdiction. But the real masterstroke happened on February 17th with the London pivot. When Irish regulators tried to dismiss the case because Hill lived outside the EU, he drafted a GDPR Article 33 complaint for Eggard's relative who lived in London, Samantha Duncan. He established that her private family correspondence was exposed, regally threatening Meta with a fine of 4% of their global annual turnover. It was total David versus Goliath stuff, using international legal pressure to force human lawyers to manually override the automated queue.
The root cause: algorithms versus human agency. So here is the unified structural vulnerability connecting these two totally distinct events. This is the real aha moment. In February, Meta's unvetted security algorithms ruthlessly punished a legitimate, verified user. The system blocked Eggard's desperate appeals simply because her devices didn't match the hacker's fraudulent Xbox token. The AI actually registered the hacker's zombie session as legitimate. Contrast that with June, where Meta's newly deployed AI support assistant happily rewarded malicious threat actors. It completely bypassed all security logic simply because the hacker inputted a polite prompt from a spoofed VPN location. It really highlights a dystopian landscape we've created, right? Deeply nuanced, desperate human pleas are rejected by blind algorithms, while hostile attackers successfully manipulate the naive helpfulness of conversational chatbots. Which leads us to the solution: the victim recovery playbook. Because standard support tickets will literally just leave you trapped in an automated support loop of death, here is Hill's exact tactical blueprint for everyday users. First up, the proxy pivot. If you are outside the EU and getting ignored by automated support, find a relative or frequent correspondent in the UK or Europe. Have them file a GDPR complaint stating that their private data within your account is now insecure. That threatens massive fines and forces an actual human legal review. Second, document everything to prove an active hostile presence. Escalate this to local cybercrime units to get an official police case number, which forces a security lock. Third, execute the Spoliation Ultimatum. You need to serve legal notice to corporate risk management that allowing an automated deletion timer to erase your medical or financial data constitutes the legal destruction of evidence. Finally, demand a global session kill. This is absolutely critical. A simple password reset will not work if the hacker has an active cookie or paired hardware like an Xbox. A global session kill forcibly evicts every single device worldwide, allowing you to securely re-authenticate with a government ID. Now, while those legal maneuvers can force recovery, solid technical hygiene is your immediate defense checklist to prevent the takeover in the first place. And it's really vital to note here that those disastrous June AI exploits, the ones that compromised the Obama archive and Sephora, they failed completely against accounts that had standard multi-factor authentication enabled. So you must disable SMS-based recovery immediately. It's way too vulnerable to SIM swaps, exactly like the one Nicole Eggard suffered. Instead, enable an authenticator app for your 2FA. Also, never use third-party emulators like BlueStacks for your primary accounts because they circumvent standard mobile protections. Make sure you store your offline recovery codes securely and, crucially, regularly export and archive your digital history. That way, a 30-day deletion timer can never hold your life hostage. As we've seen through all these events in 2026, outsourcing your digital safety entirely to AI is just a recipe for disaster. The algorithms will punish the innocent and be totally charmed by the guilty. Human connection, persistence, and ingenuity, like a mother's watchful eye from Uruguay or an incredibly clever legal pivot in London, those are your ultimate defenses. So I'll leave you to think about this. When the automated systems inevitably lock you out and the chatbots hand your keys over to a stranger, who is your human safety net? Make sure you have one in place well before you ever need it.